I apologize for the delay. We were having a little bit of audio trouble there. So as I was mentioning, once you're linked in, you should see a control panel on the right side of your screen. You can listen in with your computer's speakers, but you will be muted to avoid static and background interference. There is a dialog box at the bottom of your control panel. You can type questions into the dialog box as we go along. We'll try to get them answered later in the presentation or via email following the webinar. The webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be sent to you about 2 to 3 business days after this webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Ashley Carroll, and I am the Nebraska State Coordinator with Action for Healthy Kids. I manage our state-level wellness initiatives, including conducting trainings, managing the Nebraska Action for Healthy Kids state team, overseeing Nebraska grant projects, and providing technical assistance to school wellness advocates like all of you. And I'm pleased to have a special guest panelist this afternoon. Emily Fauble is a parent in the Lincoln Public School System and is going to talk about the School Grant for Healthy Kids award her PTO received in each of the schools her children attended this past school year. We'll hear from her in a little bit. So let's get started by giving a little bit of background on Action for Healthy Kids. We're a nonprofit that was founded in 2002 by former Surgeon General Dr. David Satcher. We are dedicated to fighting childhood obesity, undernourishment, and physical inactivity by helping schools become healthier places. We are moms, dads, teachers, students, school and community leaders, as well as school wellness experts who have banded together to create healthier learning environments for our children. We believe that everyone has a part to play in ending the nation's childhood obesity epidemic. Our programs, tools, and resources make that possible. So this is an overview of what we'll be talking about today and the key learnings I hope you walk away with. We're going to start by discussing the need to address unhealthy food choices and sedentary behaviors among children. Learn about ways that your PTA or PTO can promote health while still raising money. Hear from Nebraska schools about their success with healthy classroom celebrations and fundraisers, and hopefully inspire you to apply what you learn in your PTA and PTO's activities. So to begin, I want to start by addressing the necessity for this webinar. The bottom line is the link between student health and academic achievement is well established. Research clearly shows that good nutrition and physical fitness is linked to better behavior and academic performance. You can check out the Learning Connection from Action for Healthy Kids to learn more. It's a great resource that summarizes the most recent research proving that healthy kids are indeed better learners. Parents are absolutely essential in school wellness. Not only are they encouraged to be involved in the development of school wellness policy, they're the bridge between what is taught in the classroom and what goes on at home. They're responsible for establishing early, healthy eating and activity habits in young children before that child ever enters the school building on the first day of school. So it's critical that we make attempts to communicate and engage with all parents so that they can lend their talents and also understand why some changes might be necessary to creating a healthier school environment. Now with this slide, I've tried to synthesize all the key learnings that we'll dive deeper into throughout the hour. If you can remember these 4 key points, you will have gotten the gist of today's webinar. By providing our children with access to nutritious foods, giving them opportunities to be physically active each day, modeling healthy habits ourselves, and reinforcing the health concepts learned in school, we give our children the tools to be successful academically and lay the foundation for a lifetime of good health. So let's talk briefly about childhood obesity. I'd like to begin by defining a few key concepts. So overweight children are defined as those children with a BMI or body mass index between the 85th and 95th percentile on a standardized growth chart. An obese child is defined as a child with a 95% or greater percentile BMI on that standardized growth chart. And while it is changing in some places, there are still almost a third of youth aged 2 through 19 that are overweight or obese. That's particularly alarming because overweight and obese children are more likely to remain that way as adults. Therefore, prevention is absolutely key. Here in Nebraska, 35.8% of Nebraska students were found to be overweight or obese in the 2010-2011 school year, according to data from the Youth BMI Surveillance Project. I've broken down that information a little further on the box on the left-hand side of the slide. In 2011, the obesity rate among 10 to 17-year-olds in Nebraska was 13.8%. That's just obesity. That's excluding overweight children. In 2013, the high school student obesity rate was 12.7, garnering us the 17th highest rate in the nation. And just as recently as 2014, Nebraska's adult obesity rate was 30.2%, which is the 20th highest rate in the country. Today's children are unfortunately developing chronic health problems that used to be found mainly in adults. Obesity in children and adolescents is linked with high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, social problems and bullying, sleep disturbances, as well as sleep apnea, and problems in bones, joints, ligaments, tendons, muscles, and nerves, and is also associated with an increased risk for a variety of cancers. And I alluded to this fact a little bit earlier, but overweight students miss school 4 times as often as normal weight students due to illness and social concerns. Teachers, office staff, and school nurses can relate to this. If kids aren't in school, they're not learning. Now we're going to talk a little bit about malnutrition. The 2015 Dietary Guidelines for Americans found yet again that most Americans, including children, have low intakes of 1 or more nutrients needed for normal growth and development, as well as learning and cognition. And so this information, I like to show this graph because this is the typical adult American diet compared to the recommended intake based on the Dietary Guidelines for Americans. And what you'll notice is that most adult Americans are not reaching the goal for daily whole grains, vegetables, fruits, and dairy, as well as key vitamins and nutrients. However, they are exceeding the limits placed on calories from solid fats and added sugars, refined grains, sodium, and saturated fats. And this really reinforces the need for the environments that our children live, learn, and play in to provide consistent messages promoting healthy lifestyles for everyone in the family. This information comes from the 2010 Nebraska Youth Risk Behavior Survey, and they asked students in 9th through 12th grade about their fruit and vegetable consumption in the past week. And about nearly 27% of respondents said that they had 2 or more fruits, daily in the past week. Less than half of that number reported that they had had at least 3 vegetables each day in the past week. And then only 8% said that they were actually meeting the recommendation for 2 fruits and 3 vegetables daily in the past week. So I think this presents a PTA opportunity to get involved in increasing access to nutritious foods in the school environment and outside in the home. Next, we're going to talk about physical inactivity. Active bodies equals active brains. This is again taken from that 2010 Nebraska Youth Risk Behavior Survey. They asked 9th through 12th grade students about their physical activity habits in the past week. And the key takeaway here is that physical activity declines with age. So it's critical to develop healthy lifestyle habits in youth that will carry a child through their academic career and beyond. The other thing that's interesting here is that there are pronounced gender differences, that female students were not as active as their male counterparts. So another thing to be aware of when you're planning your school events. This information comes from the Wellness Impact Report, which is based on research by Dr. Charles Hillman at the University of Illinois. We know that physical activity is a known protective factor against overweight and obesity, but it also has a huge impact on brain function and academic performance. What you'll notice is the increased brain activity and additional areas of the brain being accessed in recalling information and thinking critically in these two composite images. So the brain image that you're looking at on the left is a composite of 20 students taking an exam after having sat quietly for 20 minutes prior to initiating the test. Then the image on the right is a composite of an additional 20 students taking the exact same exam, but they had just completed a 20-minute walk before starting that test. And so you'll notice that there's many more parts of the brain being accessed by that rush of oxygen that was accessed in their brain by just a moderate amount of physical activity. I mean, it wasn't high impact. And so overall, there is definitely a positive association between fitness and learning. Physical activity is fuel for the brain, not just for the body. This is just another reinforcement. Movement increases learning ability, attentiveness, and kids' level of engagement, and it decreases behavioral issues and absenteeism. So before we begin our discussion on healthy fundraising, I thought I'd give you a little bit of background information on the Smart Snacks nutrition standards. Smart Snacks nutrition standards set nutrient limits and ingredient requirements for competitive foods, which are defined as all those foods that are sold to students on campus during the school day, which are not part of the reimbursable meal programs, school lunch and school breakfast. And those include foods sold as a la carte items, in vending machines, snack bars and carts, school stores, and most importantly for our purposes, fundraisers. The Smart Snacks standards apply to the period from the midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the school day, and all areas of the property under the jurisdiction of the school that are accessible to students during the school day. So basically any in-school fundraiser is subject to the nutrition standards specified in the Smart Snacks rules. However, these school fundraisers are still allowed during the school day, selling foods that meet the Smart Snacks guidelines and selling non-food items. There are also, you are allowed to sell food that is not intended to be consumed immediately. So you can make the case for frozen cookie dough or pizza kits, but your school itself can choose to place restrictions on those fundraisers at a school level as well. So now let's talk about the fun stuff. Let's talk about some healthy school fundraising ideas. I encourage you all to set the bottom line high. Healthy fundraisers set a positive example and support children's healthy eating habits. Healthy fundraisers can be just as profitable, if not more so, than your typical unhealthy fundraiser. And healthy fundraisers don't undermine a parent's authority in influencing their child's diet, and they don't conflict with nutrition education messaging that students receive in the classroom. So we're going to begin by talking about some non-food fundraisers. You could consider herb and garden starter kits, seeds, bulbs, and plant sales. Flower sales for Valentine's Day are a big hit. Instead of candygrams, try flower greetings or mylar balloons and singing telegrams. Silent auctions with donated prizes and family fun nights, game nights, and carnivals can help bring in the community. Raffles are a fun and easy way to earn money quickly. You can even raffle specific priceless opportunities, such as a reserved front row seat at a school concert, a prime parking spot at an event, lunch with a principal, or a chance to cheer on the team with the school mascot at a local sporting event. Other non-food items to sell include wristbands, magnets, other wearable school spirit items such as spirit beads, water bottles, and air fresheners, personalized notebooks, pencils, and folders. Don't forget about the typical spirit wear as well, including shoelaces, hats, gloves, and t-shirts and sweatshirts. Candle fundraisers are another item that have been very successful for many schools. Student artwork fundraisers are both a source of pride and money for schools. The student artwork can be featured on greeting cards, calendars, magnets, and stationery, among others. And one of the best ways to start a healthy lifestyle is to eat healthy foods. So what better way to create a healthy fundraiser than selling cookbooks made of healthy recipes contributed by families in your school community. You could also showcase your talent, your school's talent, with creative fundraisers. These can take the form of plays, fashion shows, music festivals, battle of the bands, magic shows, talent shows, pageant-type contests like Mr. Mascot, and art shows. Academic fundraisers are also fun. Try a trivia night where teams buy a table and play against each other for table honors. You could host a parent versus child spelling or geography bee, a readathon, math contest, or even a science fair. The participants will get their families and friends to sponsor them, and then all the money will go towards your organization. And in the event of, if you're going to do a science fair, usually an admission fee is where you'll make your money. Yard sales are another great option for back to school in spring. You could ask for donations of gently used goods. Along a similar theme is a book sale of gently used books. Discount and scratch cards are another option. And don't forget about shopping donation programs where you sign up and the company gives a percentage of your purchases back to your school. Now we're going to talk about active fundraisers. Instead of selling an item, another way to really get a healthy fundraiser going is to host an exercise-based activity. These fundraisers get everybody moving and raise money at the same time. Many of them are pledge-based, such as a money donation for the number of baskets made or laps run. Some ideas that have been successful include fun runs, jump rope contests, basketball free throw contests, and sponsoring teams in local races. Other ideas include celebrity softball games or student versus parent or staff games, as well as all kinds of activity-thons like a bike-a-thon or a dance-a-thon. It's a great way to earn money and promote some great exercise. Plus, it's really fun. Organized sports teams can also promote active youth by holding a skills clinic or a meet and greet. And skating parties, roller skating parties, I feel like have kind of become a thing of the past, and that would be great to reintroduce that and share that joy with our own children. Healthy food fundraisers are also another option, with fruit and vegetable baskets being at the top of that list. You could also host a healthy no-bake sale. And then another avenue for fundraising is community service. This is especially great for high school clubs and groups. Consider holding childcare for Parents' Night Out before the holidays. This is a huge need for parents to get some time out to do some much needed shopping without their little ones. Car washes are a great outdoor activity that can earn your group some money. Yard work such as raking, shoveling, and mowing provide a much needed service for others. Salt and mulch delivery is another way to provide a service and promote your team or group. And don't forget to leave a team poster or schedule with each delivery. So now I'm going to talk about a few examples from Nebraska schools. This is from Kearney Public Schools. They initiated a Healthy Start Garden program. They partnered with a local nursery to offer interactive nutrition curriculum and also had a healthy fundraising stream. So the nursery came in the fall and was doing hands-on nutrition education, ecology, etc. And they had the students plant seeds in 1,400 biodegradable planters, which were then sold in the spring to parents, generating $7,000 in revenue that first year of their partnership for the school. This is a selection of annual healthy fundraisers that Sunset Hills Elementary in Omaha, Nebraska hosts. They have an art and soup night. They host a carnival every other year. They sell spirit merchandise. They also sell a student directory, holiday plant sales, a book fair. I don't believe the Target Education Rebate Program is in existence any longer. They also do the Hy-Vee Receipts Rebate Program. And then they have a few additional events that they don't use to generate revenue, but you certainly could. They have a talent show, a fun run, and a family back-to-school picnic. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of additional detail about Art and Soup Night. All the proceeds go to Sunset Hills Art Pals program, where they actually bring in local artists to interact with the kids and get them inspired and do some hands-on art as well. And so typically Art and Soup Night nets the school $1,000 to about $1,500 each year. And that's in a school of about 130 students, I believe. Admission is free, so all of the families can participate, but parents are encouraged to make a cash donation of any amount, and then they also purchase their students' artwork because they have, as you can see in that middle image, they have all kinds of art displays throughout the school, and so then parents go in and they buy their students' art. They also have a silent auction, which generates money. And the great thing about doing the art and soup theme is that there is no cost for food for the event, because the parents are all donating crock pots full of healthy soups and chilies for this soup and chili cook-off contest, and one family is crowned the soup or chili winner that year, and so the school doesn't have to worry about purchasing food and that detracting from revenue. As I mentioned, they also host a carnival every 2 years, which generates about $2,000. That's from the sale of tickets for games, food, raffle prizes, and another silent auction. They wanted to mention that they think it takes about 25 or so volunteers because they have over 20 games. They have 3 huge inflatables, including an obstacle course. They do face painting and balloon art, and the kids really love it. This is just a selection of how much revenue is generated from a few of their other fundraisers. And then I think it's also important to remember that you can just include an option for cash with any of your existing fundraisers. So if your school community is not willing to part with a time-honored tradition of selling cookie dough, for example, you could just include a cash option for those families who want to contribute and want to participate and raise money for your organization, but aren't necessarily interested in what you're selling. So now we're going to move on to safe and healthy classroom celebrations. And one reason many schools are asking parents not to bring food in for classroom parties is the rising incidence of child food allergies. There are about 5.9 million kids in the U.S. living with a food allergy. 1 in every 13 children in the U.S. has a food allergy, which is about 2 kids in every classroom on average. In Lincoln Public Schools alone, there are 1,300 students with food allergies, 50% of which are anaphylactic, meaning they are vulnerable to a life-threatening allergic reaction. And the potential for accidental ingestion and cross-contamination are extremely high during classroom parties when outside food is handed out. And that's why many schools are just opting to leave the food out altogether. Here's an idea of some birthday alternatives. Ask individual teachers to establish birthday guidelines for their classrooms, or see if the principal or your PTA or PTO will establish school-wide guidelines. At the end of the day, children just want to feel special. They like to be the teacher's helper, wear a special crown, sash, or badge. They like to donate or read a book to the class, receive a personalized birthday card, choose a game, activity, or music, like a song to play after lunch, perhaps, and have some special time, maybe with their teacher, principal, or another adult. Say they get to eat lunch with them that day. And if parents want to bring in something for their kid's birthday, ask them to donate a favorite book to the classroom library instead of perhaps bringing in treats. I think the key in successful classroom parties and celebrations is getting students involved in the planning and prep. You could have a dance party and invite the principal and other school staff. Let the kids make decorations and favors, get their input in choosing the games. You could organize a special community service project instead of a party, perhaps inviting senior citizens in for lunch, collecting goods and make cards for sheltered families, or organize an outside project for Earth Day, which is coming up. Have students vote on a special class art project or craft and invite a local artist to come in and do a demonstration. And just ask the students to come up with some healthy party ideas. When they feel like they've been part of the decision-making process, they're much more likely to be supportive. And also important to remember is that children like adventure, so don't be afraid to try something new. Many schools are moving to morning parties because anticipation and excitement don't interfere with classroom learning. We can all relate that students, I'm sure, are a little bit difficult to manage on holidays when they know that they have a party coming up in the afternoon. So they're less distracted if their party is in the morning. For Halloween, students arrive in costume, thus taking less time for changing midday. And snacks can be a lot healthier in the morning because you have some logical options like yogurt, breakfast burritos, fruit, and muffins. And having breakfast is really critical for learning, so kids will be starting the day off right. In terms of rewarding classrooms and students, shift the focus from food altogether. Host events which promote physical activity along with music, art, and games. So if a classroom wins a certain contest, of whether it's for raising the most money, instead of offering them a pizza party, offer them an extra recess or a baseball, soccer, or bounce party. They really love it, and it doesn't cost anything. Here's a list of school events your PTA or PTO might consider hosting. These events get parents engaged and on board with healthy living, and that will create more buy-in and support for a healthy school food culture. It also makes it more likely that healthy habits will be reinforced at home. And so some ideas are hosting a health fair, a school garden work day, cooking lessons, or an Iron Chef competition, physical activity events like dance contests, fun runs, obstacle courses, bike-a-thons, sock hops, movie nights that promote healthy living, family nutrition classes, parents and teachers versus kids sports competitions, and 30-day challenges. Pick a healthy habit and organize a competition around it. Maybe that's getting 3 a day servings of dairy or water challenges. And then kick off the event in a fun way and end it with a celebration. Here's some healthy food ideas: fruit-infused water, snack kebabs, veggie pumpkins, watermelon monster, holiday fruit tree, and an octopus swimming in hummus. This is a heart-healthy Valentine's Day party from Sunset Hills Elementary in Omaha. Their heart-healthy Valentine's Day party included dancing and music. They created Cupid's arrow fruit kebabs with grapes and watermelon and cantaloupes that were cut in the shape of hearts. And then instead of skewers, they used straws to place the fruit on for their Cupid's arrow. And then they were handed out water bottles with custom labels. You can see they have little fishies on there, and they say, "I'm so glad we're in the same school. Happy Valentine's Day." Crestridge Elementary and Conestoga Elementary, both in Omaha, encourage parents to purchase classroom sets of trinkets for birthday celebrations instead of bringing in food. Their wellness team made the case for non-food treats setting costs and excess calories. And you can buy items in bulk from Oriental Trading Company and Walmart. Kids love scented pencils, stickers, erasers, jump ropes, and bouncing balls. Underlying these principles is the fact that offering children food rewards teaches them to ignore their own food regulation mechanisms and encourages them to eat on command, such as in the presence of external stimuli like recognition. You can also work with your school nutrition department. Oftentimes, they are happy to provide treats for your celebration with a little advance notice. And just as a rule of thumb, give your little learners smart snacks. A smart snack has fruit, vegetables, whole grains, or low-fat or fat-free dairy products as the primary ingredient, meaning the first ingredient listed on the nutrition label. And water tastes great with everything. Make healthy options more appealing. The world of Pinterest has opened it up our creativity to food art in all forms, and kids love having faces on their food or being involved in the development of a food craft that they get to then eat. And just keep in mind that it often takes multiple introductions of a new food for a child to acquire a taste for it. So support culinary curiosity at home. Take your kids to the grocery store and try new foods together. Participation in meal preparation has been shown to increase a child's willingness to try new foods. Also, ask about recess before lunch at school, because that has also been shown to decrease food waste, as children are not racing through lunch to get outside, and they have actually worked up an appetite. Don't forget to write changes into wellness policies. To build support for these healthy practices and ensure that they continue, work towards writing them into school policies and guidelines. Incorporate them into school improvement goals to stay on track and keep attention focused on health as a priority. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Emily to talk about Irving Middle School's Fun Run. Bear with us, guys, one moment. We seem to be having some technical difficulties as we can't hear Emily. So give me just a moment as I try to get her audio fixed. Okay, and while we work in the behind the scenes to hopefully restore Emily's audio, I'm going to jump ahead and talk about Jocelyn Elementary, which is in Omaha Public Schools. They were one of our School Grants for Healthy Kids grant recipients this past year. And unfortunately, they were not able to make the webinar this afternoon, but they passed along a few selected pictures and some notes to share with the group. So give me one moment here and I will talk about Jocelyn. Okay, they wrote, Jocelyn Elementary received a mini school grant for the 2015-2016 school year. We were so excited to have the opportunity to share the alternative healthy foods and activities to our staff and parents. After the training from Action for Healthy Kids, our PTO board and health team members created a plan to move forward with communicating to parents, staff, and students. Communication is very important, so we use all media available to us. School signage, nutrition tip flyers that are sent home in school folders on a monthly basis, information to mass email listings, information and pictures posted on our Facebook page, and they also provide information at school events and family fun nights. They wrote, we decided to stop using food fundraising magazines that we had used in previous years. We started an annual fun run named the Jaguar Jog. The first one was in September of 2015. This helped motivate us into the new school year with positive thinking and a healthy outlook for all of our upcoming events. We have encouraged healthy living through a variety of avenues, such as intramurals, brain breaks, jump rope for heart, walking club, extra recess as a class reward, annual BMI reviews for students, monthly nutrition tip newsletters, healthy treats in classrooms, and increased physical activity at school events. Other fundraisers they've done in the past are the Yankee Candle and Savings Sidekick coupon books. And I want to mention, too, about the Jaguar Jog. So for their first time ever hosting this event, they raised over $8,000 for the school. So tremendous, tremendous job. In regards to healthy celebrations, they host a harvest party, a Valentine's Day party, 6th grade graduation. They have a kindergarten social, bingo for books, a winter dance. They also initiated an art and soup night after our training. They have a jag stock. Student council sells glow sticks at dances instead of cookies. And the holiday school store sells fewer treats and more trinkets. They write, we incorporate physical activity and healthy nutrition in our school celebrations, not just in fundraising. Our classroom celebrations now include granola bars, yogurt, light popcorn, Crystal Light, flavored water, fruit cups, and/or Rice Krispie treats. Also, explaining to parents that toys, books, and other fun trinkets can be more beneficial than birthday treats in the classroom. Being creative and providing alternative solutions is important. It will allow parents and students to be more aware of proper nutrition and increased physical activity. It also helps students stay involved and will encourage better lifelong eating habits. During our art and soup night, we provided mini labels to read ingredients, understand portion sizes with small cups and bowls, and provided drinking water. They also had a band. Music brings positivity. At our family fun night, bingo for books, we provided healthy sub sandwiches and sides with Crystal Light and water to show parents you can still eat healthy and have fun while doing it. At our winter dance, we encourage the students to enjoy dancing. We value our students and their health here at Jocelyn Elementary School. We understand that providing healthy, appealing, and nutritional options ensures increased physical activity, energy, concentration, and positive development for our children. Okay, I'm going to turn it over, hopefully, to Emily, who hopefully will be able to hear this time. Emily, you have the floor. Okay, apparently we're having some technical difficulties with Emily's audio. The good news is you'll get a, with the recording of this webinar, we can send some additional notes. If you'd like more information from Irving Middle School's Fun Run in Lincoln, and also she is on the PTO board for Beatty Elementary in Lincoln Public Schools. So I will just include that information with the follow-up to this webinar. So we're going to move along. We can see here, oh, that's great information. I'm eager to share it with you all when we follow up. Okay, so now that hopefully we've given you some great ideas on healthy fundraising and classroom celebrations, I'd like to talk a little bit about our School Grants for Healthy Kids program. We are accepting applications for the 2016-2017 school year. We are accepting applications through May 15th. The grant awards are in the amount of $500 to support healthy classroom celebrations and healthy fundraising. They require the support and signatures of your 5-person team, including your principal, and you are agreeing to implement or support existing school-level policy addressing classroom celebrations and fundraising. So schools are eligible to apply if they have already initiated these policies and these practices in their schools and they just want to expand capacity or build additional excitement. And they're also encouraged to apply if this is not the standard in their school, but they would like to move in that direction. A few key deadlines to be aware of. If you receive an Action for Healthy Kids award, well, so principally submit your application by May 15th if you'd like to be considered for an Action for Healthy Kids award. And then if you do receive one, your midterm update and a brief policy exercise will be due December 1, 2016, and then a final report with your grant award expenditure and 5 pictures will be due May 30th, 2017, so at the conclusion of next school year. And a link to the grant application will be in the email with resources that follows this webinar. For additional resources on healthy and active classroom parties, I encourage you, if you haven't already done so, to go to the Action for Healthy Kids website. This is a screenshot of our Game On School Wellness program. You can see on the right-hand side there, you can find activities based on the area of the school. There are fundraising ideas and great ideas for events, holidays, and other celebrations also throughout the school year. Also, I encourage you to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest success stories, health tips, physical activity games and recipes, as well as volunteer opportunities. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Flickr, and YouTube. Now that we have a few minutes remaining, let me see if we have any questions that have come along. Okay, and we do have one question. Have you seen complaints from parents regarding phasing out food as fundraisers? Is it typically well accepted? And Emily, even though you are unable to, or we're unable to hear you, do you think you could type an answer in the chat box? I can speak from my perspective in working with a number of different schools, but I'd also like to hear from you and your individual schools that you've been working with. So while Emily's hopefully typing out an answer, I will just say that that's usually a concern when I work with the school, that there might be a little bit of pushback, but typically it's never on the scale that anyone is afraid that it might be. And I think that as we've tried to stress throughout the presentation, communication is really key. I mean, if you provide the rationale for why you're moving away from food for fundraisers or for classroom parties. Usually parents can understand. I mean, you know, food safety is a concern with children who have food allergies, and just making them feel included. It's oftentimes they have to sit out or they have to get something separate from the group, and nobody wants to make a child feel left out, and nobody wants to place a child in an unsafe position if food that they are severely allergic to is going to be around them. So clearly explaining the rationale, I think, for any changes to long-held school traditions is essential in getting parents bought in and supportive of what you're trying to do. And with fundraisers, you can just tell them that really sales have been declining for many of those typical food-based fundraisers over the years, and many schools are moving to fun runs and other physical activity-based fundraisers because of their ease, because there are very few costs that eat into your profits, and so yeah, not only is it healthy, but it's also a very profitable option for schools, and many schools have great success stories around fun runs. Okay, and I did get an answer from Emily. Thank you so much for typing that out. She writes, it was not initially well received, but once we model that we can have fun with classroom activities and send home treat bags with meaningful items, that silenced the concerns for the most part. I think that with some relief from parents that it was going to be a school-wide policy and not a grade-level policy. This plan was in place for all classes, and it went well. Now that we have 2 classroom parties under our belt that were food-free, it feels like a habit, and the concerns are gone. So great feedback. Thank you so much, Emily. Let me make sure we don't have any additional questions. Excellent question, by the way. Okay, since we do have a few additional minutes, I'm going to one more time, hopefully, see if we can't restore Emily's audio. Okay, it appears we're not going to get Emily's audio today, unfortunately. So, oh, we don't want to do that. Okay, thank you all so much for your time today. If there aren't any other questions, I will adjourn this webinar a few minutes early and challenge you all to have a healthy, active rest of the day. Here is my contact information. Once you receive the link to the recording and the link to submit your grant application, you will send those all to me at acarol@actionforhealthykids.org. With that, have a wonderful Thursday. Goodbye.